Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we got the gameplay and review for Aurora in Disney Mirrorverse. So if you are new, please leave a like and subscribe for brand new videos on the channel, and also follow my X down in the description down below to stay updated when I do upload brand new videos. So it has been over 8 months since we last had a Guardian in Disney Mirrorverse, that being Rex, and the time has come for a brand new one, and that is Aurora. Now Aurora is the second ever female tank Guardian in the game, the first one being Ursula, and I am very excited to try her out. She looks really good on paper, but how does that translate into actual gameplay? Now this video will answer all of your questions and I'll be fully breaking her down, but I first need to let you guys know that I am in the KCP, the Kabam Creator Program, where I get to test out these Guardians every time they release. They get added to my account, I make videos, and after a certain amount of time they get removed from my account. So yeah, I just wanted to put that quick disclaimer out as always, but without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So we're going to start with Aurora's abilities. Starting on the core ability, Aurora is immune to attribute debuffs. Now if you didn't know, attribute debuff increases a target's attributes, that being health, attack, defense or focus. This is a great immunity to have, considering if you lose any of your health, attack, focus or defense, basically you're very vulnerable in a fight. And yeah, having this immunity is just an extra perk to playing this Guardian. So when Aurora takes damage from a heavy attack or a special ability, her shield wall activates. Now what is her shield wall? A shield wall is a unique shield for Aurora that greatly reduces damage from basic and heavy attacks from melee and tank enemies. Now this is great to have. She's going to be obviously very good against melee and tank enemies. Any matchups where you have these type of enemies, she's going to be the best option to use. So once she has this shield up, what does it actually do? So whilst Aurora's shield wall is active, she gains 75% damage resistance of all basic and heavy attacks from melee or tank enemies for 10 seconds. So another reason why she's going to be so good against melee and also tank enemies within the fight. So whilst shield wall is active, Aurora is immune to damaging debuffs. This is a huge immunity to have. Now there's so many Guardians that have been released in the game that deal so much damage to you. So this is a great immunity to have because there's so many characters that got added to the game where they deal poison or wound to you, and being immune to damaging debuffs is so important. You don't have to worry about her taking damage over time. She's just going to be solid in the fight throughout. So once shield wall is deactivated, it takes 10 seconds to recharge. So the rotation is you're going to take damage from a melee or tank Guardian using their heavy or basic attack. This will activate your shield wall. You're going to have a 75% damage resistance from all basic and heavy attacks from melee and also tank Guardians, and you are going to be immune to damaging debuffs. And then once your shield wall is deactivated, it takes 10 seconds to recharge again, and once this shield is deactivated, you are now going to be vulnerable to damaging debuffs. So just keep that in mind. You are only immune to damaging debuffs once you have your shield active. So as soon as it goes out, you're going to be taking poison and bleed damage. So that is Aurora's core abilities. Now moving on to the special ability, Aurora strikes her combat target, dealing 400% damage and inflicting knockback. So knockback is so good. It's one of the most underrated bits of utility you can have on a Guardian. It stops them from using their special ability, and at the same time it gets them away from you if you're in a tricky situation. So Aurora heals 2% per second for 5 seconds. Having a tank Guardian heal is unheard of. Most of the time it's just armor that you gain. You never really see your average tank Guardian heal, so this is really unique, and I also like it. It's a decent amount of heal as well. That's going to be 10% over the 5-second period. So whilst Aurora's shield wall activates, if shield wall was already active, its time is refreshed. If shield wall was in cooldown, the cooldown is cancelled. So basically this means she's going to gain her shield wall as soon as her special ability is applied, and if she already has it active, the time is going to be refreshed. So that's her special abilities, some good stuff there and some good amount of healing. So moving on to Aurora's signature ability, when Aurora's shield wall cooldown ends, she heals 1% HP, and when Aurora's shield wall deactivates, she gains 10% armor. So she also gains armor as well as healing, so that's a source of healing and also a source of gaining armor. So this is at level 1. So you can see here now I'm going to go all the way to level 100, and it's going to be a huge jump here. Now it seems like Aurora is going to be one of those Guardians that does benefit from having her at a high sig. So instead of 1% at level 1, now at level 100 she's going to heal 10% HP every time her shield wall cooldown ends, and at the same time when her shield wall deactivates, she's now going to gain 50% armor instead of 10%. So this is really good. So that's her abilities. We're going to go on to the talents now, starting with the first advanced talent. So when Aurora's shield wall activates, she gains a 31% attack buff, so she's going to be dealing much more damage every time her shield wall activates. And at the same time, once Aurora's shield wall deactivates, she gains a 31% defense buff, so she's going to be much more stronger and harder to kill. kill once your shield wall deactivates. So that's the first advanced talent. Now moving on to the second advanced talent. Once Aurora's shield wall is active, whenever she prevents a attribute debuff, she gains a 15% defense buff for 10 seconds. Now this can stack up 3 times. Now keep in mind this is only at level 6, so the higher you get this talent, the more you're going to be gaining through the defense buff. So whilst Aurora's shield wall isn't active, whenever she prevents an attribute debuff, she gains 3.8% armor. So there's no stack limit on this, so you can just keep gaining it every time you prevent an attribute debuff. And at the same time, the higher level your talent is, the more armor you're going to gain. So this is a really good talent. I'll probably say this is one of the better ones to equip to Aurora, and I would definitely recommend putting this one on. And then moving on to the last advanced talent. Whilst Aurora's shield wall is active, Aurora's special ability lures all enemies for 4 seconds. Every time Aurora uses her special ability, she's going to lure all the enemies away from you. So say you're using a melee guardian as your main character you're controlling, and you're taking so much damage, you're about to die. Whenever Aurora uses her special ability, she's going to gain that lure, and she's going to lure all your enemies away from you so you can actually recover from the fight. So this is a really, really good ability to have. Sometimes it can be a little bit risky having lure on a guardian like this, because you might lure your enemies in and, you know, you might get absolutely destroyed. But from what I've seen, Aurora can actually hold herself in a fight. She has the ability just to like heal and also gain armor, and she has a lot of damage resistance. So whilst Aurora's shield wall isn't active, her special ability heals an additional 250 HP. So another way to heal with Aurora. So that's a really common theme with her. It seems like she's going to have a lot of healing when her shield wall is inactive, and using her special ability, she's going to benefit from not having a shield wall active and also having one active. So moving on to the elite talent. When melee or tank enemies hit Aurora with a basic attack or shield wall is active, there's a 13% chance to inflict an enemy with a stun debuff that lasts for 1.5 seconds. So this is another good reason why she's going to be good against melee and tank guardians. You know, there's a chance that you're going to be stunning them. So when Aurora's shield wall deactivates, Aurora knocks all enemies with a knockback. So another knockback, you also get that through the special ability, but at the same time, when your shield wall deactivates, you're going to be knocking back all enemies. I would definitely recommend using A2, A3 and E1. I think that's the best talent loadout that I personally have been using, and it's worked really well for me. So moving on to the traits, she's medium, royalty, lawful and featured. So one or two good ones there. I would have liked to see her have at least one more maybe. So yeah, that is Aurora. Now, what's my overall thoughts on the Guardian? It's been so long since a new Guardian in the game. Aurora, she looks to be solid. She has some good utility. She has access to stun. She can hold herself in a fight. She's got the lure. She knockbacks enemies. She gains defense buffs, attack buffs, she heals, and at the same time she gains armor. So as a tank guardian, she's probably going to be one of the better ones. Now, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, because, you know, there's a difference between testing her out in content and actually testing her out in like endgame content, you know, raids and all this sort of stuff. So I can't really give you like my full analysis, and that will come with time. So the more people play of her, the more you'll unlock her full potential. Now, my biggest issue is she's very tailored towards melee and tank guardians. Against any other guardians, she's not going to be the best option to use. So she's not going to be good for everybody, but most of the time she's going to be really helpful in fights. But I am really hyped to have a brand new guardian in the game, and we have another one coming very soon. So that is it for today's video. If you did like it, please leave a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.